Okay.
Okay, so Uncle Boardman and Aunt Ruby lived in Beaumont, Texas. And when I was 10 years old, we lived in Beaumont for 2 years. And Uncle Boardman was there, and he had children my same age, Sharon Gale and John Edward, and they were about my same age, so I spent a lot of time with them. Uncle Boardman had a big old 2-story house there in Beaumont, and he built a washateria alongside. And my dad and my brother Roy was over there working on the building, and John Edward laid down and fell asleep at lunchtime. And Roy took the nails and slowly went around John Edward and nailed his clothes to the floor. And when he got him all nailed down, Dad picked up the 5-gallon water jug and throwed it on him and hollered, "Get up, John Edward," and he couldn't move. So that's the sort of stuff that they did to each other all the time. Uncle Boardman was a carpenter, and
Didn't wake him up.
he was quite a good carpenter, and he was always working on something, always had something going, and he was a little bit crooked sometimes too, and absolutely refused to go to church with Aunt Ruby and the kids. As a matter of fact, he would get plumb angry. My cousin Wilda, his daughter, told me one day that they were all dressed up to go to church, and they had to walk from where they lived down to Bethel Baptist Church, and it was probably a couple of miles. And they stopped off to say something to Uncle Boardman, who happened to be on the roof working on a house. And he threw the hammer at her. Okay, so Uncle Boardman threw his hammer at Aunt Ruby, and he hit her in the head, and she was bleeding, and she just picked up them kids and went to church anyways, you know. He was mean to her sometimes, but by the time they got into their old age, he hung on to her like it was the end of the world. He was so good to her at the end, you know. So you never know what you're going to get, you know. But they were married, I don't know, more than 50 years for sure. They were married. Well, he was about 9 years older than my mother, so I know he was married a long, long time before that. He actually, I didn't know this until later on, but he was actually dating Irene Bottman, who was the first grade school teacher at Buck Branch School that taught every one of us kids in the first grade. And I didn't know that until just a few years ago, right before Irene Bottman died. And Uncle Boardman was already dead. And they always called him Cotton, because he had really white hair from the time he was a little kid. You know? So he was an interesting guy in a lot of ways, and his kids were messed up. Aunt Ruby sat there one day and asked me why her kids were all so messed up, and all of us kids seemed to do so well. Well, all of us didn't do really well, but we did okay. And I just told her, I said, you only got a certain amount of time with kids. You got until they're like 12 to 14 years old to teach them, and then after that, all you can do is guide them until they make it, you know, because they've already made up their minds what they're going to be by then, you know. You're not going to change them. You can keep them from making a few mistakes, but you're not going to change them. They're already what they're going to be by the time they're that old. So, yeah, Uncle Boardman, he was unique, and I liked him a whole lot, but I never got into any financial doings with him, you know, because I was smart enough to know that it would not turn out well, you know. Just like a lot of people I get involved with, it never turns out well, you know. It's the same old thing. No good deed ever goes unpunished, you know. So no matter how hard you try to help, sometimes it just don't work, you know. But I really enjoyed his company, you know. He was always super nice to me, and his kids were always good to me. When we moved to Beaumont, when you were a little kid, Aunt Ruby and some of her older daughters, Jeanette, Nadine, Wilda, they all thought your mother was the most amazing thing they'd ever seen because she had little kids and she kept a clean house, and they never did, so they didn't know how that worked. So it was, and they never ever was a crossword said. Nobody ever complained, said anything unkind about me or Nancy or anything. It was just always nice, polite, enjoyable company with that whole bunch. We never had a single time that there was any problems. But among each other, they fought like cats and dogs. But they never said anything to us. Nothing, never. I loved it. It was a great experience for your mom too. She loved them. They were good people, you know. I remember I was sick. I got walking pneumonia, and I was sick for like 10 days, and you were sick at the same time. And Aunt Mary Lee, Uncle Robin's wife, and Nadine and Aunt Ruby all came over there.